Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
What's up, guys?
Wasn't me.
Welcome back.
I just can't. Every time I look up, it's like Oak sitting there with a grin on his face, just waiting
I'm
for
a happy
me.
guy, man. I'm a happy guy. That's all I can say.
Well, happy
Yeah.
2021, everybody. We're back. We're gonna
What a way to start off so far.
10 days.
I mean, I don't have to say anything. I'm sure everybody can, see what's going on. The world's still a little bit on fire.
If you did not like your 7-day trial of 2021, too bad. Too late. Your subscription cannot be denied.
Should have got the 30-day warranty. Send it back to get it fixed.
Something's broken. I
Here's
would
the
like to
2022,
return.
everyone.
No returns. No returns. It's like no takebacks. That's what happened. Well, I mean,
Funny.
the upside is that we have been away for a couple of weeks, which means we should theoretically have some stuff to talk about as far as what we've played, because the news is a little sparse and what we played is probably way more fun to talk about.
Pretty much. I think so, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I did play some Cyberpunk. Finally finished Cyberpunk.
I'm already on my second playthrough.
And I saw that. I saw that you were going back there. I was like, okay. I really enjoyed Cyberpunk. I luckily, other than the minor issues that we've talked about, for PC players, highly recommend the game to go through and play. I thought it had a really good plot line. It sets it, in my personal opinion, it sets it up for a sequel no matter what ending you end up with. Because there's multiple endings to this depending on how you choose to play the game, because you've got 3 different tiers you can play in for your background story, as well as playing male or female as well. And I thought they did a really good job of figuring that out, and also the choices you make during it, how they can finish that up. It's just going to take another 10 years for them to make whatever the sequel's going to be.
Well, I think they've got some interesting threads to follow as far as what they want the sequel to be about, because I think it'd be hard to do a direct follow-up just based on your choice, your options. But I think that some of the things they threw at you getting close to the end left enough of an open door to go, well, I think this is probably what they're going to want to explore later, and I'm excited about a sequel, because, I mean, I'm sorry if like I said the last time we were here, if you're playing it on console or anything, I'm really sorry that you cannot fully enjoy this game, because it is very enjoyable. Although, I will say, this is the first game I've struggled to jump straight back into and recommit to a second playthrough, because the end of the game rocked me so hard. I was like, I won't spoil it for you, but it's definitely one of those things where I think I needed more time to process the end of this game than I usually do. Maybe
I will tell this isn't a spoiler because we don't want to do any of those, especially with everything going on.
It's still new.
I will tell you this though: when you finish whatever your version of the ending is, it gives you a choice. Do you want to complete this game? It's done with. Go back to the main menu, or do you want to go back just before you made a major decision?
Yeah.
And so if you do that, you can send that back to that before that major decision. So if you want to see what your other ending would look like based on the decisions you've made up to that point, you get that option again. Endings, so you get multiple endings based on that, and then also if there's a lot of side missions and stuff like that you want to go back through, you can go back and do them, which I think is pretty neat. The game is just massive. I do have one viewer who has been playing it on an original Xbox One, and actually had no problems.
Wow, nice.
And so
you could sell that game for like $10,000.
I was like, you're the luckiest human ever right now.
Well, I mean, I would say I had pretty minimal issues the first time that I played through, but then when I started the second, and I kind of wonder if some of them are tied to specifically to the life route you picked, because my second playthrough I rolled Corpo, my first one was a Nomad. I've had, I'm not even out of the prologue yet, and I've already had more glitches from this little bit than I had the whole run last time, probably. Like that first, this is in the starter mission, but you have in the part of the tutorial where it wants to teach you how to shoot from vehicles, essentially. So somebody else is driving and you're supposed to pull out your gun and sit on the windowsill and shoot people. It put me up on the window, but wouldn't let me pull a gun out. I'm like, I don't know what to do, because I thought it was dependent on you shooting those people. That's the whole idea behind the tutorial. But they drove off and crashed into something, and the guy you're riding with is like, "Nice shooting, V." I'm like, "Yeah, my mind bullets, so good, so good. I didn't even know I was using them. Perfect." Like, this is odd, but yeah, I've had a lot of.
I kind of hope that the corpo one is tied to the problem that I had where you're driving and all of a sudden it goes into the cross formation.
I have not had that one before.
I hope you experienced that. It's hilarious.
Oh,
absolutely hilarious. But I did enjoy the game. And then the other thing I've been playing is because we were looking for a new game with what is my Friday night crew, the crew that I'd used to play Sea of Thieves with, which I'll probably get back in Sea of Thieves at some point, but I'm gonna take a big long break from that one for now. So we ended up playing Deep Rock Galactic, which was it all
we
four
have
of us?
Played. We tried to play it. Baka couldn't get in.
Okay. But I remember we had like a 30-minute trial or something one time, and all of us got in there and played or whatever. We've been playing a good bit of that game, and it is so good. It is so well done.
It's on Game Pass.
It is on Game Pass. Yeah, so if anybody has Game Pass, definitely get into it. It is so much fun to play the game. And then we kept picking up these flowers, and I was like, okay, these flowers don't go towards anything. What are they? It's so you can unlock beer.
Oh.
Because you're all dwarves, so
nice.
Yeah, see, so you can actually brew a particular type of beer, and it actually counts as part of the money and stuff is at the bar. And it's funny because one of there's one beer that explodes. So you drink it and you just go launching across the entire room, exploding and bouncing all over the room. So you got 4 of us that are just bouncing everywhere. There's another one that freezes you. So like this cold air comes in and you completely freeze and you have to break yourself out of the ice.
That one seems less useful.
There's another one that shrinks you down. So you drink it and they just shrink down into a small size. Well, and it's funny because you're fast as hell. Like you just going all around the place, and then you grow back up. But it's and then there's another one that's called Blackout. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. And my only suggestion, everybody needs to experience it, but I will tell you this: don't make the mistake we did the first time, which was all of us drink it at the same time. Because you can actually revive somebody that's blacked out, but if all of you are down, so they end up sending you to the infirmary, and you have to get fixed that way.
Wait, if we're all wasted and blacked out, how do we save each other? You don't.
Exactly.
You just wait.
And then I've also been playing State of Decay 2. Right? I've been playing.
How do you like it?
I do. I like it a lot, actually. It's quite interesting. I've had there's some of the aspects of it I don't care for, like in the fact of they're like, if you move your base, you get to keep all the stuff that you had, right? Which they don't say you're gonna have to build an infirmary again. You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to do that. Build all that stuff back up again. So I made the decision to go ahead and move the base. Because I was like, okay, if I get to keep all this stuff, this is a better base. I like it. It's got more stuff. I can build more things.
Technically, you get to keep the materials because they break it down, and you get the materials back.
You do get to keep the materials. That is correct. And so, but I really liked it. I've some of the characters and stuff that I brought in are nice. I've had a couple of my friends that have the game come in and play. I've been playing it on. I was fortunate enough that a friend of mine found an Xbox Series X for me over Christmas holidays. And I wanted to play a game on the Xbox Series X that I haven't played on my PC, or if I have played it on my PC, wanted to see the difference and feel the difference and do all that. And I've really enjoyed the game. It looks great on it. It's optimized for the Series X, which is nice. And so I'm enjoying the gameplay on it. But I'm going to tell anybody right now, wait the 2 years for the Series X. Like if I wasn't fortunate enough to have a friend to help out, wait 2 years, because you're gonna get unless you're trying to play, Cyberpunk, in which case you're gonna have a Series X or PlayStation 5,
a professional Series X,
right? But I would say wait the 2 years, because it's just trying to go through their store and find stuff on there that I'm like, okay, how's this gonna look or whatever. And actually, one of the best looking games on there, believe it or not, is Halo 4. I picked it up because it was optimized for the Xbox One X, and then they boosted it up a little bit more for Series X and the PC, and so it actually looks really, really good on there. And I'm like, wow, the colors are great. It's in HDR, HDR, so it's like it's got all this beautifulness to it, and it's like, too bad the game isn't what it needs to be.
Too bad this pretty game isn't actually anything more than pretty.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see as more games come out. Maybe Halo Infinite, maybe they'll make Halo Infinite halfway decent, maybe. Okay. But we'll have to see.
I'll play it because I'm pretty sure they're going to put it on Game Pass, so I'm definitely going to play it. But I would be critical about
Halo
it.
4 and Halo 5, I looked both on Series X. I will tell everybody right now, Halo 4 looks better than Halo 5 does on the Series X.
That's interesting.
Feels bad, man.
It's very weird. Like, it's especially the cutscenes. Like, I remember the cutscenes being halfway decent. Like Halo 4, I remember the first time I saw the cutscenes, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then Halo 5, I didn't really think they were that much different, but they don't look as good as Halo 4's does. Halo 4 looks like real people. Halo 5's got kind of the uncanny valley eyes a little bit. And I never noticed it until I put it on this. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay, it's a little strange. All right, but so I've been playing around a little bit with it. I did have to get a new capture card. I will tell everybody this too. If you are a streamer or somebody that has to have a capture card in some way, and you wanted to utilize the new systems as best you can, or get the best out of them as you can, they're running at 120 hertz. You can't get 120 hertz out of anything except for the AverMedia, their newest one, 4K Live, I think is what it's called. That particular one though, it has to be at 1440p. And no one makes a switcher currently that's reasonable in cost anyway. Makes a switcher for HDMI at 120 hertz. Everything stops at 60 hertz. So I literally have to go around. If I wanted to swap between a PS5 and one stream and an Xbox Series X or my PC even, I have to go around and actually unplug one and plug the other one back in now. And it's just a pain in the ass. And it's just like, oh, but at least my quality looks good. Like, I enjoy playing the games now because I don't feel like they're weird. But it's.
Man, I remember back in the day when you had to get up and go push the TV button to turn it on.
That's because you're old.
Back in my day, you used to pull it on, and you had a knob like this, huh?
Yeah, I remember those phones where you used to spin the dial thing.
Look now.
Yeah.
This is not a competition.
Not even I hadn't anything that old.
I remember a U on the dial, and then you had a secondary dial in order to be
what was the U for?
Ultra high frequency. So you had to do so your higher channels, like 33, like it only went to 13. You turned it to U, and then you had the secondary dial that would go from 14 and higher.
Well, today I learned. I did not know that.
He had one of them fancy technologies. Ultra high def TVs in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
I think every TV I've ever had or used since childhood has had a remote, so.
The same.
That's why I like to go to my grandparents' house. They had a remote.
Or if we lost the remote, and at least there were just buttons you pressed of power, volume, and channel.
I get to tell my kids, back in my day, I was the remote.
Wow.
With our 3 channels we got.
Oh, man. Well, I finished Cyberpunk 2. Like I said, the ending got to me a little bit. I loved the characters in that game. I know I'm bringing it back to Cyberpunk, but it's because this is what I've played. I really liked the characters, and I know some of the animation's not as smooth as it should be. Like, that game definitely feels like parts of it really got pushed, to be done faster than it should have been. But the characters are so enjoyable, and so many of the side missions, like there's that one, Oak, I think you had mentioned it on the show, the husband and wife that ask you to come over, and you're like, I don't know about that. Yeah, they, like, that whole side mission, I really enjoyed those characters and how it was done and everything, and what ramifications it meant for the rest of the city and everything. I'm just impressed still. And if you're gonna play it on PC, go get it. And I also started up Red Dead Online because I told you Baka sold it to me. He did. That is a hard game to play.
Steve sold it to you.
That is a hard game to play when you have a kid, though, like a baby, because all of those missions, like you start any stranger mission or anything, and it puts a timer up on the top of the screen, so you cannot be like, oh no, baby's crying, gotta walk away for a minute, because you are gonna fail the mission, because baby is not gonna quiet down in less than like 2 minutes. So it's been difficult to do much in so far.
That's why you just do a posse and let me do most of it.
I want to play the game.
That's not the point of play. Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't help her play the game.
I did do a mission earlier, though, today, and it's been so long since I've played Red Dead, which I know everybody's like, oh, you put up that whole thing last year. Yeah, I know, but it's been like a year since I finished it up now. And, so I don't remember how some of this stuff works exactly, and I equipped my fists because it was like, you need to go and steal this thing, but don't kill these people. I'm like, okay. So I equipped my fists and ran up with the intent to brawl. Instead, I pulled out my pistol and pistol whipped one guy, and I was like, okay, well, that's cool. And then proceeded to shoot the guy standing next to him. And I'm like, no, that's not why would I put my fists on for shooting? Why did you do that? So, I didn't remember that there's actually a melee button. It's not your trigger, because your trigger, the game assumes you want to shoot folks. And, that's not at all. Like, I don't understand, if I have fists equipped, why you would think that I want to pull out a gun.
These are not fists, people. These are fists. These are not fists. These are hands. Hands make fists.
Judo chop!
Ooh.
I am a karate cowboy. You don't know. Don't tell me how to live my life.
Cowboys versus Ninjas? I've seen that movie. Actually,
Ninjas won 2020.
I just...
Yeah. Never saw him coming.
But I want to play more of that game so bad. Because Red Dead is so enjoyable, and I hate that everything is on a timer. Granted, the timer usually gives you more time than you need to finish the mission. Oh, and I will say, I did the first one where you have to go steal your horse. You have to go steal a horse, and then it becomes your horse. And you're supposed to do that with an online group, and the dude I loaded in with was like, I guess he's already played it or something, because he ran in, stole his horse, and ran off while I'm still trying to run in. So literally all of the bad guys are looking at me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die now. Thanks.
So that's why I don't like playing with people. Like in your case, you're playing on an online game. It should be where it's like, okay, this person's level 1, never played a day ever. Let's see if we can find somebody else that's
well. I mean, that's
close to that.
But it's the starter mission to get your horse, which means that person has never played. It just, they may have played on another platform.
Or a lot of people, what they're doing is deleting their characters and starting all over again too.
Oh, for some reason. I mean, that's part of it too, is it may just be somebody that had deleted and started over, but it was supposed to be 4 people, but I guess at the time that I was doing the matchmaking, there wasn't anybody else playing except for that one dude. But yeah, I was like, oh, he just left. Bye. I died twice stealing my horse, because all of the bad guys, all of them, that, like, it spawns them in as you run through certain areas, and since he had already run through everything, all of the bad guys spawned and turned to the closest person, which would be me. So instead of having somebody to help take that fire, it was just me. And there was a lot of them, and I was like, okay. But I got a horse out of it, so that's cool. So.
Yeah, now you can save money and buy another pony.
Yeah, it's gonna take quite a while. So, but that's fun. And then we did play a little Phasmophobia. They did an update, so we played some. And now we had a ghost that wandered around. Like, usually it's like, here's the ghost room, and that's where they're gonna mainly be, and they might pop up, you know, in adjacent areas and whatnot. No, this one was like, it was a 2-story house, and it was all over. The ghost room, theoretically, was the garage, but we had the Ouija board, and we're like, where are you? It's like, garage, utility room, upstairs hallway. Wait, what is this ghost doing?
Then if that's spawn in the basement.
Yeah, if that's a new personality type, I'm gonna have to add that to my list, or because like super roaming is not very common. They roam. Do not get me wrong. They will roam from room to room, but they usually don't go much further than the room adjacent. This motherfucker was going to the other side of the house and spawning.
Yeah.
And doing shit. But the thing is that it would roam, do something, and then it would basically reset back to the garage, and then go somewhere else, and then do something, and then reset back to the garage.
Yeah, it was in the garage, and I was trying to leave the house, and it spawned in front of me in the hallway. I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of here! Also, I want to leave!
Well, also, I'll be 100% clear that it was mostly because of the Ouija board, too, because we have seen a lot of times when you use the Ouija board, it will move towards the Ouija board.
Yeah, but then it went to the upstairs hallway, and you tried to run away from it in a hunt, and it spawned in the basement.
In the basement. It started in the basement.
So explain that to do with the Ouija board.
It had it much more active. The Ouija board is a dangerous tool.
It was mad.
Baka's like, oh, I found it. Let me start screaming at it, and then I fucking die for it, you shithead.
The Ouija board.
Baka's just sitting over there screaming into the Ouija board. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And then it just spawns up and kills me. All right.
You're going to die? That answers your question?
Yeah, it's pretty much, I'm just gonna die.
Well, I did have fun, though. I was a lot more aggressive with the ghost than usual. Although not aggressive enough for some people's taste. Baka, who gets very upset with me, and Red. And anybody that's not chicken, basically. Like, I have limits, okay?
Yeah, Red did a, he kept snapping pictures on the camera and ran out of film. and the ghost started hunting, so I was like, no, come back here into this room. He runs around. It's in the farmhouse. He runs around to hide next to the fridge. So I was like, oh, okay, but whatever. I shut the door, and I go hide. It kills him because you're not really hiding next to the fridge.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a little kid hiding with the lampshade on their head, going, "You can't see me because I can't see you." I mean, that was the way Red hid. So. It was good.
And then,
it'd be funny if there was a mechanic
leaving,
to hide behind curtains.
The ghost, like, I could see your feet.
As I was leaving, I picked up his camera. I was like, okay, well, it's out of photo. So I drop it again, and I pick up the smudge stick again because, well, you got to have a lighter with the smudge stick and then the flashlight. So, and then it spawns next to the window as I'm leaving, and he's like, well, take a picture. It's like, I can't. You didn't have any film left in this damn camera.
Because you took pictures of nothing. Red's not the most reliable sometimes, but he has a lot of fun. Not everybody's going to choose to hide next to the refrigerator.
At least there's that.
Although one of the update things was that the ghost, if it saw you, it will go to your location instead of necessarily you can just line of sight it, and as soon as it loses track, it forgets about you. Now it's a little more like, I know where you went, ho.
Yeah, it will go to where if you go around the corner, and that's where, because before if you go around the corner, it would break line of sight, and then it would start wandering off. Now it will go to that corner to where you were at and find you. So if you're going down the hallway and it sees you down there when it makes that turn, it'll go to where it saw. It basically follows you now to the last time it saw you. So you'll have to go down the hallway, go into a room, and close the door so that it can't see you.
And even then, sometimes.
But if you make sounds, it'll go into the room and follow you.
But shut your mouth.
So, yeah.
What about you, Chicken Baka? What have you guys been doing? Aside from playing stuff with me. Okay, then.
Don't spill all your beans at once.
Well, I did quite a bit of Red Dead, and I painted a Dead Army.
Did you finish them? Because I think you were working on them still on the last show.
Yep, I finished all those ones, and then I went digging through my box of stuff and ran across some old ones that I had painted a long time ago, and I may repaint them to make them look better. But cool. I'm still debating about that. Right now, I'm working on Spooky Trees.
Getting ready for October a little early.
He starts out all
that's my Halloween costume. Spooky Tree.
Oh man, shut up! I've had enough dad jokes.
But I'm doing those, and then I also found some dragon hatching out of eggs that I've had forever that I've never painted.
Baka's being way more crafty than the rest of us. We're using all of our energy in the digital world. Baka's like, nah, man, I got this real stuff. I'm like, what's that?
Well, if the pandemic is ever over, I'm coming to play D&D.
He's gonna be ready to play by the time this stuff's over.
All I'm saying is, once the vaccine becomes available for us plebs, we should definitely get it so that we can go back to being social.
Dr. Booth got the first dose.
Yay!
Nice. Now, can we slide up in there? And, like, I'm a doctor too. Can I get one? No, just kidding.
Hey, to be fair,
doctors need to get first.
She tried to get me on the list just because, married, make it happen, right? Yeah, they said no.
Yeah, sorry. She's important. She knows all that stuff. You don't know nothing, so you're, if you get it, you're fine.
Well, you've already
had it.
I've already had it. I get it, I might die, but it's okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Maybe.
What about you, Chicken? What have you been doing?
I've just played a bunch of WoW. My rogue is almost 60. Thank God. I've played a bunch of Cyberpunk.
But not enough. He hasn't finished it yet. Everybody look at him. That's the dude that hasn't finished it yet. I don't know what direction.
Yeah, because I spend most of my time just driving around. Like, I don't fast travel. I only call my bike, and then I just drive around everywhere. And like I said, I'm like Batman. I'm only missing the cape. So whenever anything pops up on the road, like the little, it'll pop like an incident is happening, or a firefight,
or the police symbol that
blinks. Anything that pops up around me that's an event happening, I'll just hit the brakes on the bike, pop off, run over there with my club, beat the shit out of them, take everything, and then hop back on my bike and go on to that. And I do it every time. Like, that's pretty much what I do. I just drive from one spot to the other. But I'm enjoying it. Some of the bugs I'm enjoying. They're really, really, really funny.
Some of the bugs I'm enjoying. Nice.
My favorite one so far was I was standing on the sidewalk talking to somebody on my phone, and there was a car in front of me, and the car disappears, but the people inside don't. So you just see these people floating in the sitting animation, and they just kind of scoot off. They're like just scoot off down the road. I'm like,
look, man, their car has advanced cloaking. You're just mad.
And there's a car behind them, and then as soon as I look at it, it disappears, and the two people are sitting there, and they just kind of get up and walk away. It's like, how?
The cursed
how
intersection.
Did that work?
Their car has Wonder Woman's invisible jet, but mode of invisibility, where it just looks like they're sitting there flying through the.
No, they just got up. They got out of their sitting animations and just walked away. Like, it's like they just clicked the button, their car like poofed into a little cube, they put it in their pocket and walked away.
I was referring to the first one that just kind of slid away. But
oh yeah, that one they just kind of slide away real quick.
There was a guy that I was watching on YouTube, and his basically what he does is try to find areas to get to that maybe only during a particular part you're in a building or whatever, and that's the only way you can really get to it normally, and he's finding other ways into it. And so he's climbing up on top of these on the roof, and he's basically inside of a building, but you can't really tell that. All you see is the outside edge. But he's climbed all the way up to the top, and you look down, and literally the entire city is full of cars. There's no city. It's just white and cars everywhere. And I was like, no wonder this game has so many bugs, and my computer is trying to render all these damn cars across the entire city.
Yes. Hey, if you drive fast enough, you can make all the cars disappear. I did that a couple of times. Like, before. If you could go fast enough, like on the highway, like I started going through cars, and then as the faster I go, the cars just kind of get thinner, and then they disappear entirely. And then once you start slowing down, the cars start appearing again. It's like, oh, nice. The cars are back.
I always thought it was the time of day.
No.
My cars just disappear if you go too fast, and you slow down, they start coming back in.
In the Badlands, I was telling Chicken about this because I ran everywhere if I couldn't fast travel. Which fast traveling, I think, refreshes your game a little bit, so I think it cuts down on how many bugs I was having just because I was constantly refreshing. But if you run through the highway, I think if you're coming into oncoming traffic, the game's like, I don't know what to do. I know there needs to be cars here, but okay, fine, there are cars here, and there's people in cars. Like, just, like, little smatterings of them all over the highway that aren't driving. They're just sitting there like it's a red light or something, but it's the highway and there's nothing around. I'm like, what are y'all doing here? Like, what's going on?
Just hanging out.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I guess the game was, like, Cars. You need cars. Obviously, there has to be cars, but we don't have a destination for these AI. Just throw them out there. Go, go, cars. Okay. Some of the stuff in that game.
Yeah. Too funny.
One day Chicken will finish it, and then we can discuss the ending. Because I know we're going to have, like, Chicken and I will have very different endings, and I already know this. But yes. I can't wait to talk about it with him. That's the way it is
with most of these style of games for you two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're very,
any choice game, as much as we have in common, most choice games, we make very, like, vastly different choices in them.
And I will be 100% clear, I don't know, it's almost like it's not me making these decisions, I'm kind of just playing the game, and it feels like my character is making her decisions.
You put
like,
yourself
whenever
in
I
the
look
mindset
at him, it's
passively.
like, what? Like, it's like, what would she choose in this? It's like, you know, because I personally don't really care, but my character has an opinion on what's going on. It's like, how would she address it? So it's like, all right, cool. These are the choices that I feel like would automatically pick.
I
would say this about the three of us anyway. That's kind of when we play the game. I think Grif and I are more conscious about it, and the fact of this is our character, this is how we feel that their background and everything else is going to influence the decisions they make. Where you're a little bit more passively, that's just how you feel about it. But I think it is one of those where if you're playing this game and you're trying to play it as yourself, I think in any RPG that's similar to this, stop. Look at your character. When you have a background, like if you have a background to your character, stop playing it as yourself. Play it as how you feel, everything that's affected their lives, and move forward. Because then that's what you're trying to do to feel the world around you and feel what your role in that world is. But if you're playing as yourself, I think it's very difficult.
And I think having your main character voiced versus non-voiced makes a huge difference in my head. Like, if it's non-voiced, I can kind of be a little bit more open and kind of feel out what choices. But where it's voiced, it's like, what sounds the best coming from this voice? Like, what do I feel like makes the best sense when she's talking?
I do,
especially
feel
with everything
dialogue,
else
we discussed before, that the dialogue in certain cases, I think they did a really good job of determining, okay, this is what it's supposed to sound like, blah, 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 versus Mass Effect, where you never knew what you were going to get.
Most of the time, yes. There are a few options where it's like, that's not supposed to come off like that.
But I think as the dialogue is, the further you get into it, the harder it is to determine whether or not that's really what you want to say.
Well, some of it's really misleading. Like, you're like, one of the things would be like nice hair, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna compliment this person because I'm trying to sweet talk them a little bit, and it's like, oh yeah, nice hair, it looks like garbage. I'm like, oh no, that's not, no, V, that's not what we wanted. Why did it say just
that's
nice
why
hair?
I autosave. I autosave all the fucking time, like I do in Skyrim. Like, if something catastrophic happens, I just fucking quick save real quick. Or if a choice didn't go very right, I will just load it back and kind of play through it again to see how it plays.
Cyberpunk has a lot. Like, it has several autosave checkpoints, like every little bit, and that's really nice. That came in handy a few
One
times.
of the perks, though, if you do quick save, is that you can quick save in the middle of certain conversations. So if you like where it's going up to a certain point, and you can just quick save right there and see where it goes from there. And if you don't like it, you can go back and start again. Because
I kind of wish they would do like State of Decay 2. One of the things that I really like about it is when it gives you your options for discussion. It actually says, "This will help you do this. This is going to piss them off. This is really going to piss them off. This may piss them off." You know?
Yeah.
Discussion. And it's like, which one of these do I want
Or
to
at least, like, you could go Dragon Age Inquisition with it, where you have little icons that'll be next to them, so it'll give you at least some indication of the inflection that it's about to have, you know? Or like, this one looks like it's sarcastic.
Or someone made a mod for the dialogue, so it actually has, like, the whole dialogue of each thing out, so you know what...
I would say even then, with this one, some of the dialogue they put in, it's the way that they say it that's the problem. Like, you'll read something, and it's gonna say exactly, like, not all the time does it do this, but sometimes it says exactly what it says in the thing, but it's the inflection they put on it, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that was sarcastic, or I didn't realize that was the asshole response.
Yeah, like, if you turn around and then, like, let's say the word is just cool, it's popped up there on the thing, it could be cool, or it could be cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, how is that about to come out of my mouth?
You know, it's like, I don't know which version this is of this. You know, because it could be a sentence that is said, and it's depending on how it's the different inflection and what the idea of it is, just depends on how it comes off and how that other person's going to react to it. So it's like they did a really good job of that part of it.
I think that's an interesting mechanic for people, like companies that make RPG games. I think that is an interesting mechanic for how they all handle it differently. Like some of them, like we said with Dragon Age, gives you a little icon that'll kind of give you an idea of how it's going to go. Some of them will give you the entire thing they're going to say. Like Dragon Age Origins, it was very much like, this is what your character says because it wasn't voiced, so you knew how it was going to come across. And then sometimes it's a grab bag. Like it has one word, agree, disagree. And when you agree, you say something sarcastic to agree or something like that. You're like, no. I just think it's interesting that there's not an agreed upon industry standard of this is how we do chat choices, you know?
Well, even within the same developers, you're not going to get the same way that they do it. I mean, you got Dragon Age, you have Mass Effect, all these different games like that. Like you're not getting the same style at all.
Mass Effect was sometimes weird too, because theirs wasn't so much what the inflection was going to be necessarily. It was, is this a Paragon answer? Is this a neutral answer? Or is this a Renegade answer? And sometimes the ones that were Renegade answers did not seem like Mass Effect 3, I think it was, like, people are like, you have soldiers at the bar, they're like, I'm gonna have a drink, and you get the option to be like, okay, cool, or like reprimand them. But if you're like, okay, cool, because these people know they're gonna die, if you say, okay, cool, that's Renegade for some reason. It's like, that's not a bad guy answer.
Well, it was if you had a drink with them, it was the Renegade option. Which, I mean, to be fair, I mean, they were going off to die.
I think I did have a drink with them. I think I just didn't reprimand them for not drinking.
I'm pretty sure I had a drink.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I just was like, cool, that's fine, because, I mean, you people might be your last night on Earth. Live it up, yo! So, or last night on living, because we weren't on Earth.
Typical
whatever
Earthling.
planet.
But even, you're
Typical
right, that
Earthling,
is
always thinking of Earth.
That's BioWare. BioWare's like, Mass Effect, there are 3 options. Red, blue, or not. And then Dragon Age, they're like, here's all of these inflections that you can have, and some of them don't matter to the actual conversation. That's weird. RPGs are weird. I love them.
I guess, but I guess that's why you have people that will play through maybe Mass Effect that aren't going to play through Dragon Age or vice versa, is because they prefer that part of that style. Like, some of it's going to be because they prefer fantasy over sci-fi or the other way around, but I think that some of it's going to be to where, it's just the way the game plays out.
Interesting. So interesting.
Awesome. Anything else there, chicken?
I played a little Sea of Thieves. I did my first Athena mission. Shit is so fucking long.
Yep.
I did.
Oh, you did that on New Year's. I remember that.
No, not the. Yeah, we did the Athena. We did Athena's missions. Man, those things send you all over hell's creation for everything. I mean, they're super fun, but damn, they're so long. It's like, I think the first one we did. Oh no, the Christmas, the Gilded Chest mission that we did that Baka picked up. We had 2 islands in every corner of the map that had like 8 chests in each one. It was like, sail here, sail here, sail here, sail here, and turn in. Like, they make you go literally all around the world.
I think part of the reason they built it that way is because, especially when it first started, and people were getting, were becoming pirate legends, and there was a whole lot less pirate legends. It gave that opportunity for those people that are PvPers to find those people, and because they have so much water to trek from point A to point B. But what we figured out when we were doing was we drop off constantly. So if we've picked up anything, if there's something on the way, we drop it off, and then we move on to the next island, but the rowboats come in handy with that, because what we would do is pile up a rowboat, and we'd send one person to go turn everything in. They'd hop a mermaid and then get over back onto us, and then in between we're looking for another rowboat, and then we just pick up another rowboat.
We have a hard time finding rowboats.
That's not a bad idea.
Although I will say,
feel like they don't have them as much as they used to.
Right, especially the ones with the harpoons. That's just, I need that.
Well, they used. There was sometimes I would find 2 rowboats on a frickin' island, and I feel like they just went, and here's the spawn, we're done.
Yeah.
Well,
we also did
the initial hype that behind them went away, then they lowered the spawn.
Yeah.
Probably.
The Gilded Merchants missions are not like curse them with as much whatever like picking up 45 objects from the guy and then dropping them and then running them 45 times to the boat and then 45 times to the delivery is ridiculous, especially when you've got to water 45 plants or make sure 45 bottles don't break or 45 linens don't get wet. It's oh god. The moment I saw that,
and it's an interesting combo too, because like with the plants, we still would flood the bottom of the bottom of the boat and just leave all the plants down there at the bottom, and they'll stay watered that way. But then but like now you got silk that you can't get wet, so you got to watch what you're doing with it. And then you got the bottles that if in battle they can get destroyed, so you got to put those in an area that they're not going to get destroyed in. So it's like all the different stuff that you have to do with it. I actually had a survey around Christmas time that Sea of Thieves sent me, and they asked me what parts of the game that I liked and disliked the most. And the part that I disliked the most was the cargo runs. I hate cargo runs completely.
I mean, they seem
I don't
so
mind
easy.
Going to get the pigs, the chickens, all that stuff was fun to me. But because running around an island and trying to catch a pig or trying to catch a chicken was hilarious to me. But the cargo runs I can't stand.
I mean, they seem so easy because there's like, here's your stuff, now take it somewhere. And it's like, okay, no big deal. I'm just transporting from point A to point B. But Chicken's right. Like, the first one that we did with that, we had to carry some bottles and we had put them on the second deck. And, like, we get almost to where we're going, I think, and a skelly ship came out of the water and started shooting at us. And the first thing you hear with the first cannonball was, because it broke our bottles. Like, no! We've got all the way almost to the place we needed to drop them off, and then this stupid skeleton ship with one cannonball destroys 2 crates of bottles.
Yep.
Or the skeleton ships, and then right after Megalodon. And...
yeah, they really started stacking how that stuff spawns up.
Yep. Still haven't found a ghost one though yet.
Ghost Megalodon?
The Megalodon, yeah. There's one it's white, I believe. I've never seen one, so I can't tell you, and I refuse to watch the videos on it. But we've still yet to see one. As many hours as we've had in that game, still never seen it. And it's funny because I've got a friend of mine who's a pirate legend. Actually, she's probably a pirate lord by now, which is all the way up and has everything maxed. Mm-hmm. But she's got nearly 2,000 hours, I think, in the game, if not more. Lord. And she has never seen one. She's convinced they don't exist.
I mean,
so, but it's one of your achievements. Things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they say they're there, and I'm like, could you make them appear a little bit more often? Like, because we always thought it was going to be in the fog, because they introduced the fog at the same time they introduced those. And nope, I've been in the fog more times than I can count.
Interesting.
And I've been in every area it was there. So,
huh?
Maybe it'll probably appear one day when I'm alone on a sloop or something.
And you can't do anything about it. It's just gonna eat you.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's try this.
And then you play obsessively for the next 6 months because you're trying to see it again, and it becomes like this thing that you can't let go of. You are the new Captain Ahab, you know?
I have 60 cannonballs. It takes 61 to kill it. Great.
You better start shooting it.
We do. That's our thing usually is, because it circles the ship. All of them circle the ships. Mm-hmm. So we shoot the entire time that it's on the back side and the front side. So we're running back and forth, and we always make sure now that they have, especially since they have the ammo crates, we always have an ammo crate on the front and an ammo crate on the back to be able to refill quickly so you're not going downstairs for it. Yeah. But we don't do Megalodon stuff as much as we used to. So
as long as they leave me alone, they're fine. But man, sometimes like the mission that we did when we started a Megalodon, it's the same color the whole time. By the way, like we started at the bottom left, and as we were moving up north, it spawned and circled us, and then left us alone. We went to the north, we went to the west or east, and it spawned on us again over in that side, and we're like, okay. And then we are going down, and a small skelly ship spawns up on us and does some damage, and then it spawns again right after we kill the skelly ship, and it fucking circles us and then attacks us and knocks all of us off the ship.
It used to be, they were in certain areas, and it used to be to where if you hugged an island or hugged a rock, it would go away. and then you'd go to the next area and you'd be fine. They wouldn't appear again, or another color would pop up or whatever. But for some reason, they have now aggroed that shit to where it's the same color, and it doesn't matter that you hugged a rock or anything else. It's just temporarily going away until you get to the other side of the rocks or the other side of the island. That's it. Like, I was just like, stop it.
Yeah, this motherfucker has, like, smells blood in the water for sure.
For sure.
Well, you guys want to talk a little bit
news?
of news? I mean,
We get to talk some news, I guess?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a ton of
Both
stuff.
at the same
but,
time.
You know.
Yeah, it was a slow winter break. Everybody's still reeling from 2020.
Or still playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. Chicken, do you want to do yours? You do every year at the beginning of the year?
AGDQ.
The awesome games.
Oh, yes. Awesome Games just ended last night. They did, first of all, watching, like, people run the original Pokemon games, I actually cannot understand how they do it, but they break the game so hard that they do this crazy menuing shit, and they basically move around the map. I don't know, it's ridiculous, but they finished up with that one. That was the last game ran, and then they did, since they went the incentive, they continued for another 40 minutes, but it finished last night, and they raised $2,758,847, which is very nice. $2.75 million for a whole week, which is nice. It's not their biggest total yet, but they will beat it. I guarantee the first time we get to do a in-person GDQ, that will blow the shit out of all the other records. But they're doing what they can to keep AGDQ and SGDQ alive. Unfortunately, it ended today. I was going to talk about it, but our show came back at the end of the week. So, if anybody was interested in it, I'm sure they were watching it, or they heard me talking about it. Because I watch it every year, twice a year.
Awesome.
I like that.
It's so awesome that they're still able to get that much with a global pandemic going on, people without jobs. You know what I mean? Like, they're able to get that amount of money.
It was organized so well. Like, all the runners who had to do it from the stream version, they did it so well. And as far as I could tell, they did it over Discord too. Like, they had people share their screens, and then they captured the screens and shared it out to the stream. Like, it was really well done. And because there's no audience to interact with, there was actually a coding versioned audience where they had a bunch of the mascots at the bottom of the screen. They had a whole different website for it, and they had a bunch of their mascots in the audience at the screen. And based on what you spammed in chat, made the audience respond with it. Like, they had the clapping emote so that everybody in the all the little icons would just start clapping and whatnot. Or they'd do hearts or lamps or orbs, like the memes and whatnot. Like, if you spammed it in chat, it made the audience react. So it kind of felt a little bit like we were there still. You could kind of hear the audience still alive back there. So it was, I think that's important too, since we've all been so isolated, to have some sort of feeling of togetherness in that still. I thought that was really, really cool, because I mentioned it to Grif like a day before they showed it off. I was like, man, I really wish that you could interact with the audience to kind of make them clap and whatnot. And then they did.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yes. So good on them. They did a really good job this year. Hopefully the next SGDQ will be in person, but if not, hopefully AGDQ next year will be in person. Hopefully.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
A little bit of quickie news. Epic Games is expanding their facilities and has bought a mall up the street from their current location that's 980,000 square feet. So I guess we get more Fortnite in an arena. Like, I don't understand why we need 980,000 square feet.
Well, I mean, a lot of companies have compounds. I'm with you. I don't know exactly what you do with all that space. But hey, they saved them all.
I wonder if they're gonna turn like the old food court into like bringing the some of the businesses back in, so the employees can just go there to get food.
That'd be pretty awesome. I mean, to be fair, and with a lot of places shutting down right now because you got malls and things like that are closed because of COVID-19. It does give an opportunity for at least the building to not be destroyed. It looks like it's going to take them about 3 years to renovate. 2024 is when they're planning on moving completely in there.
Yeah, they're. I
malls
guarantee they're going to have.
In general, we're closing down before the COVID anyway. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they got a deal on it.
Online, and honestly, most of the malls have nothing but clothing stores.
Did you see the top
those
comment,
clothing
though?
stores, if you take them away, then you're going to have some really big gaming arenas, too.
But your Fortnite...
I didn't. What is they?
Maybe they'll get some inspiration on how to add a shopping cart to their game distribution platform. Savage.
That's awesome.
Maybe if we see how real retailers work, we can learn from the inside. Sorry, it's just, that's such an easy swing to take at them. And it was a good one.
Oh my god, that's good. That's so good.
What else we got in some quickie stuff? Is it all quickie stuff? I don't even know.
No, let's see. One that Chicken and I are excited for. I know, I'm not sure about your other two, but Biomutant is expected to launch within the next few months. Yay!
But the thing is, we haven't seen anything from it. So what does this mean?
Okay, first of all, I played Glover way back in the day where you were a little glove and whatnot and did a whole thing, and I saw that you get to create a kung fu furry guy, and you get to ride a glove which shoots out like bullets from your little, like you get a mounted glove pet thing. For the like what they have showed us, I want to see more. Give me more. So the moment they're like, okay, we'll give you a little more, I will take it. Give me what you got. Put it on a plate, put it in the microwave, and bring it to me.
I've played this game twice at PAX. 2 different versions of demos. I got to play this game. It feels so good playing it and creating a little furry dude, and you can make him fluffy if you want to, or you can make him to where he's got like the, you know, a little bit slicker, however you want to design him, striped, spotted, whatever. It's so cool.
Maybe
it's
not.
I have a strong feeling it's gonna be Darksiders-esque, where it's a hack and slash style game with kung fu elements in it and like open world. I like to see new IPs and I like to see what people do with them. And this one is so interesting with the route they took. Like, it's a really bizarre world that they created from the ground up.
It's kind of like that they were creating a 90s mascot video game character.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if you look at, like, back on Sega Genesis and stuff, a lot of the video games started doing, like, anthropomorphic animals for
Rayman.
The game.
He's a duck thing.
I want this game. When they showed it off years ago, I was like, cool, I want to see more. And it's just only gotten stronger as the years have gone by. I think the Steam page still says
attached to it, which is THQ Nordic. Come on now.
Exactly.
Chickens go too.
I think it's also an interesting thing to look at it because we just
Except
had
for what's his face.
We just had the whole Cyberpunk thing, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it didn't live up to all of the hype because there was such a hype train on it." And maybe showing less is gonna serve you better, because if you don't show off all of this stuff and then you can't deliver on all of it, people aren't gonna know what you didn't deliver on. They're only gonna get what you did. And maybe that works out better for you. I mean, appreciate it for what it is, not for what it didn't have.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Although Chicken will be upset if there's not the finger gun, so...
It's a mount, too. Like, you just walk around on this little glove mount thing that can turn into... Yeah, that is so fucking cool. Like, I just want to flick the enemies, too, as you run up and just flick them and then run away. The game looks a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and I think the Steam page still says it's going to be released in December of 2020, which I'm pretty sure we're past.
We're time
but
traveling.
I'm not entirely convinced. We might be in December 41st, 2021. So
I'll be happy when they release that Vampire Bloodlines too.
Maybe
I know
maybe you'll be happy. We'll see what
That's
it's like.
Okay. You'll get your BR eventually.
What else?
Let's see. We've got a couple of news about possible movie and Netflix series for 2 different games.
Cool.
Let's start with Borderlands. Borderlands has a movie that is set to start filming soon. We've been talking about this since 2015, I believe. It is supposed to be live action. No news on whether it's going to be cell shaded or anything like that. But it does look as though Lilith might be played by Cate Blanchett.
Yeah.
On that one.
I like that it has starring Cate Blanchett and Kevin Hart, but that's it. Like, wait, who is Kevin Hart cast as in this? Exactly.
The only role he can play is Claptrap.
It's gotta be, right? Like, I'm not a Claptrap fan, but at the end of the day, it's gotta be. You know what would have been funny though, if they were able to do it, is get the guy that originally did Claptrap and hire him for the movie.
Oh my god!
Yeah, get the Rock and let him be Rick.
I mean, if you've got Lilith cast, because isn't that the Cate Blanchett's role, then it would stand to reason that you would need a Brick and a Roland, and surely Kevin Hart's not Roland.
We don't know. No, we don't know. He's not bulky enough to be full. And we don't know what this is gonna take. This is gonna take like in the timeline. It's like where are we gonna start at? Are we doing Borderlands 1? Are we doing a prequel? Are we doing a sequel? Are we doing a prequel sequel? Or like where are we at?
Prequel sequel?
Isn't that what was Borderlands?
Pre-sequel.
Prequel?
Pre-sequel?
Pre-sequel? Whatever.
It was the it was the
those
pre-sequel.
Edgy teenagers coming up with a fancy name.
No, it's because it was the prequel to the second game. That's why everybody's like, this is such a dumb name, and it is a dumb name, but it makes sense when you realize that it's not the prequel to the first game; it's the prequel to the sequel.
They could have easily been like Borderlands to the moon.
Yeah, but it's the Borderlands.
Pre-sequel's a better name than what you just came up with. I'm just saying.
Hey, I don't get paid to come up with names. Give me $1,000 and I bet I could come up with a better name for it.
Well, we'll see
you can't
how
come
that
up with
goes.
a good one for free. At the end of the day, who's going to pay you $1,000?
True.
Whoever wants a good one.
I like though that this Borderlands movie was first
save for
announced 6 years ago, and we're just now getting to the point where we're gonna start filming. We'll see what happens. Might be a little stale, maybe.
Well, to be fair, Uncharted was what 10 years ago or something,
and we haven't seen it yet, have we?
No, but we've seen footage that it's being filmed.
Yes, we know it's being made.
They were waiting for what's his name to grow up so that they could cast him.
Tom Holland. He had to be a little older.
Yeah, I mean you couldn't cast him 10 years ago. I mean he's too little. You were like, all right, this is the guy
like
we want.
16. Let's wait until he's like 20 something, and then we'll go ahead.
Exactly. Let's just keep making bullshit up for the next 10 years until he's old enough and we can cast him.
There you go. That's what it was. The real long con on that one. Gotcha.
Yeah, the real long con.
Well, you
went without a mustache.
You went from Mark Wahlberg being Nathan, being Sully. So it's like,
yeah,
that's how long we've been waiting, folks.
Yeah,
it's not Sully without the mustache. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed about that. But the Netflix one though is an Elder Scrolls series. I mean, they did great with The Witcher, so I have high hopes for that. I just wonder.
Just be interested. Like, are they doing it inside the world and basing it on one of the regular games? Are they doing their own storyline? How are they going to do
based on the Elder Scrolls franchise. So, like, are we going to go the route of a story from a game that we already know? Or are we going to be like, in this other part of Morrowind, when you were busy doing this in game, we were really doing this on the side, and things like that. Like, surely it's got to be separate, because you can't have anywhere that your characters might have interacted. Or are they just going to be like, we're not worried about what you did in game, this is the story we're telling?
Oh yeah, absolutely not, because when they made a Dragon's Dogma anime, and it has nothing, like, it follows, like, it tells you the story of Dragon's Dogma.
Did you like
it? But it has nothing. Yes, actually, I was like, oh, this is okay, and then it got really good, and then at the end you were like, damn,
I'm gonna go
it was really good. Like, it was really good. I enjoyed it, and it. Some people just don't care for that kind of overly gory kind of style, like Castlevania and whatnot, and Dragon's Dogma does that too. I don't think Elder Scrolls would go that route, but I could definitely see them going that route with the kind of like darker parts of the world in Elder Scrolls.
There's going to be some blood in it, but it's not going to be on the same scale.
Yeah, as Castlevania, but I think they'll probably. I don't think they're going to do live action. Live action is too fucking expensive to do.
I don't know.
Things
I mean,
like
they did
that.
The Witcher.
Witcher's is way too fucking expensive to do 2 shows like that. Like, they are lucky they got someone
Netflix
like Henry
got a good
Cavill.
amount of money, though, to be fair.
Yeah,
True.
but Netflix also wants to test the waters for things like that, and they knew Witcher was a fucking hit, and they knew that they could get a cast that they could carry the show. And the person that needed to
You
carry
don't think
it
Netflix
was
knows that
Geralt.
you can now get Skyrim on a freaking refrigerator? Come on.
Who carries the Elder Scrolls franchise?
I mean, but I think that's also a selling point.
Nobody.
Though, is if you can get a cast that can carry it, then yeah, you can do a live action.
But all right, who's your favorite character in Elder Scrolls?
To be fair, that's not a fair question of me. I have not played many of the games. This is my first Skyrim.
Who's your favorite character in Elder Scrolls, Baka?
But which one?
All of them. Out of all of the Elder Scrolls ever, who is the most iconic character? There's too much lore to pick a single one.
Yeah, but then
that's
you
why
pick a
something
starting
like,
point with your lore and make the show from there.
I know, but that's why a live action version of The Witcher works so much better. Is because you get these like pinnacle characters.
So yeah, I mean they can set it in the world Tamriel, but it cannot follow any one particular game because none of them, other than like the history and stuff, really connects any of them.
Oh, they're like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and that's why an anime version would do so well.
It all takes place in the same world. Each game takes place at a different point of time in a different part of the world.
Yeah, so they don't have to...
like the MMO, it goes in one. It goes before I think pretty much almost all the games, and it goes all over the world. You got Skyrim, which is in Skyrim, Morrowind. I forgot where Oblivion takes place. No, Oblivion wasn't in Oblivion. It was in a different section of Tamriel. You go to Oblivion, but in each one you play as like whatever character you
Cyrodiil, Valenwood, Black Marsh, Morrowind, High Rock, Hammerfell, the Somerset Isles, Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like all these different things have different games in different times, and like you could do that in an anime, but spending the money to do a live action season in every one of these ones. I mean, you could do it, and Netflix has more than enough money to do individuals, but you can't guarantee it's gonna.
No, but you could.
Work.
But you couldn't guarantee it would work. But it is one of those where you could set it up. Like we said before, it could be part of the lore of a particular area or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could even introduce another kingdom, if you will, that's part of the world, and have something else going in act with that, whatever timeline you wanted to have. But I think people are so in love with the world that was created that it wouldn't be hard to get them involved, and it might influence people to go ahead and play the game. But I think based on what they've been doing recently, I think that Elder Scrolls Online is what they're trying to push. So I'm actually think that if they're going to do anything, even if it's an anime, it's going to be near that timeline. It's not going to be, because they're going to want people to play their online game and get more people into it.
Yeah, like I think an anime would fit better into that world, so that they can kind of do the seasons a little faster. They can get a season in this area, and then a season into the next zone, and then another season in somewhere else, and it kind of gives them a little bit more freedom, because you don't have to go somewhere.
They're going to make it very Game of Thrones-esque, where there's going to be multiple characters you're going to be seeing and following.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see. I think they'll do an anime, but I would not be surprised if Netflix goes ahead and throws big money behind something. But I know Bethesda just got bought by Microsoft, so I know they don't have a lot of money to throw around these days. So
maybe. Speaking of Microsoft buying things, see what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I set you up.
One of the former heads of Microsoft said that about 20 years ago, Microsoft tried to purchase Nintendo, and basically Nintendo just laughed at them.
Yeah. So, I mean, why wouldn't you? You're Nintendo. You've been relatively successful. It's Microsoft. It's 20 years ago. So.
Okay.
For like
First of all, so
years.
It was 20 years ago. Nintendo was 111 years old, when a 111-year-old company, and an American company comes over to you and was like, "Yo, you thinking about selling?"
They're like, nah. To be fair, it sounds like the people that had to go to that meeting were made to go to that meeting, even though they didn't think it was going to go well. Which
and that's fine. But whoever was the executives who were up there talking with the other guys were like, maybe Nintendo will sell. Somebody just needed to smack him straight. Like,
well, to be fair too, it's one of those where I can't blame Microsoft on this, because you're dealing with, at that particular point, they were probably, if I had to guess, probably worth about $200 to $300 billion 20 years ago. Nintendo's worth nothing close to that. So going in for that option is a possibility, because they were trying to get into the Japanese market, which they still do not have a strong grasp of the Japanese market at all. And so I think that it was an idea that was decent, but I think they would have been better off just buying a bunch of Japanese studios and instead of trying to go after Nintendo, the juggernaut that it was 20 years ago.
And still is to this day.
It's still a juggernaut, because nobody's going to touch it, but it's one of those where it's like, it's just, but could you imagine the world now if Microsoft have purchased Nintendo? Like, how different would everything be? We probably wouldn't have the Switch, because you would have this American mindset versus the Japanese mindset, and the Japanese needs of having things that are smaller and, more
portable
concise. So it's like, and if it wasn't for Nintendo, we wouldn't have some of these amazing things that in gaming technology that's moved on. Like, remember when the Wii first came out and they were like, wait, we can move our controllers around in our hands and play the games and have a great time. Like, if you ever play the Rabbids game that was on the Wii with the freaking cows that you had to swing around and stuff, like, it was just mind blowing on how that worked. And you would go into like here locally, you'd go into Hooters and you go in there and they had a television set up with a Wii, and people were bowling over in the corner on this television. Just a great, like, it was, you would see it at bars, you would see all different, like, they just did a great job of improving technology. And to this day, we still think they have some type of witchcraft, because they can put a full game on something this big.
Yeah,
but
I find that ironic, because their pitch when they went over there was like, hey, your hardware sucks, but your games are pretty good. So how about you just let us make the hardware, and then you can stick to the games? And now it's like, look at this fucking Nintendo Switch. Look at this. Look at this. And look at what you do, Microsoft. You make a fucking 1200 gig download that we have to spend 6 hours downloading, and then another 12 hours once the game gets released. I think Nintendo's doing just fine with their hardware. They always seem to work out pretty well.
Okay, and so they went over there, and was it 2001 or 2000 when they went over there?
2000. I think it is 2000.
6 years later, so they were already working on it when they ended up going over there trying to buy them, is when the Wii came out. So they were already working on the Wii technology.
That's probably why it actually came with laughing,
Yeah,
Right.
because behind the scenes they're working on this fucking unbelievable piece of technology, and 6 years later they're like, and this is why we laughed at you, Microsoft. And it became the best-selling console of all time.
It's crazy.
Well, to be fair, the hardware in comparison to the Xbox or the 360, yeah, it's underpowered, but it's just how the controls and the games work that made it such an innovation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going by just strictly power and graphics, yeah, it sucked. But
and that's why Nintendo doesn't play that side of the game. They play their game, and they know they are the best at it.
Well, see, that's the reason. That's also the reason that, because with the Nintendo 64, you had the cartridge that was coming out. PlayStation, of course, was going with a disc, and that's part of the reason that Final Fantasy ended up becoming a PlayStation exclusive for a while, was because of the fact they wanted their graphics and everything else to look the quality they were going to get on a PlayStation versus getting it on the Nintendo 64. So because the cartridge was limited on what it was actually able to do. And so I think it's interesting that you've moved to a disc and then they've gone back to a cartridge. Like they went, and if you remember, the GameCube discs were this big.
Yeah, like it all of Nintendo's stuff has been different. Like they had the cartridge in the first one, and then the Sega, or not the Sega, the Super Nintendo was the cartridge you stick down. 64, same cartridges. The GameCube, they had the small discs. The Wii, did they have the full discs? But they felt different.
It was a full disc on a Wii.
Yeah,
they felt like the edges felt
because it also had a built-in
different.
DVD player. You could play with it.
Okay, and then the Wii U, I think they had discs too, and then they went back to cartridges. It's like they've always tried to do their own method of designing their cartridges too. Like everybody else, it's either for PlayStation and Microsoft, it's either download or discs. Those are the only two options: download or discs for both of them.
Well, to be fair, the disc have reached a point to where they can only hold so much info. Whereas the cartridge, when they hit that point, yeah, it was like that for a while. But now they've moved on to where, like, I mean, just look at like little SD cards about holding like terabytes worth of information.
Yeah, like Nintendo was like ahead of that game. They're like, all right, discs are going to run out of space. We need to find something else. Well, these little memory cards seems like they're being able to hold more and more information. Let's go that route so that we can make sure that we keep our stuff, compact.
Well, that was the thing with Blu-ray in the first place, and the reason that Sony was able to push it as much as they were is because it held 120 gigs worth of information. And now now people don't even use the 120 gig. They don't even have to put it on a Blu-ray. They literally just have to put it on a freaking DVD, because all they're doing now is they're putting the code to make you be able to play the game, and it's downloading from the internet.
Yep.
So where Nintendo still got it on a cartridge. There is some extra downloads and stuff like that you have to do, like with Doom. There was, I think, another 10 gig that had to come as a download, but I think it was just a patch that they added onto it. But it's just, I think it's interesting how the world would have changed, and if it would have changed, like would we be behind the times we are now if Nintendo had not stayed a separate entity?
Yes, definitely, because they would only be making games for Microsoft, and Microsoft would probably still be moving at the same pace they are now. So
maybe, I bet it is a possibility, because they would end up getting the technology that the Wii was built on. So would they have used it?
No.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't think so. I think they would have been like, it's gimmicky, no thanks.
The Kinect came out after the Wii, because they're like, well, the Wii's outselling us because of all this motion stuff. So
true,
we got to do our own thing, which ended up being horrible and sucked.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
It was
depended
okay.
It depended on what you were playing and things like that. It was when they forced it down everybody's throat for the Xbox One, I think that everyone got a really bad taste for it. It would have done fine if they'd put it as separate to start with. I think you still would have had those people that bought it for a niche market, but
still battalion, motherfucker. Still battalion.
To be fair, though, couldn't.
That's different, though.
You couldn't use the Nintendo Wii and your Wiimote and your nunchuck to use for ghost hunting, which you can with the Kinect, according to one of those shows on Sci-Fi. Because the Kinect camera picks up ghosts. Y'all, obviously it's the stronger machine. I don't know why Microsoft
Okay.
discontinued it. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
I saw it and
no.
I was like, this is okay.
So still battalion on how bad that was, like, really just made me salty about the Kinect altogether. Because it's like, look, you need to put out the fire in the cockpit, and you go to hit the button and move your hand, and your hand goes to you do this to move, and it's just like.
Yeah, well.
Don't worry, Baka. By 2025, I'm gonna buy a nice VR headset, and then when they do Steel Battalion with that, then you can come over and play, and you're gonna be like, never gonna fucking take off the headset.
To be fair, that's not
I
a
would
bad
do it now.
idea anyway. Like you could literally set that whole thing up to where your little controls that you put in your hands for the VR would literally be you have the headset on, and it's like you having that entire.
Oh, by the time I want it, Valve is going to come out with like gloves
Haptic
that go over
gloves.
your hand. Yeah.
By the time
that
you want it now. It's just you're not gonna buy
yeah.
it.
Yeah, because if you watch Half-Life Alyx, she has the gloves over her hands, and that's pretty much how you move and whatnot. So it's only a matter of time before they put enough sensors and gloves to be able to put on and play games like that. So it's just a matter of time.
But when they do that, someone's going to take all the sensors out and purpose them back into an old Nintendo Power Glove.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt. Like once we get technology and it starts getting out there, people are going to start taking it apart, and I guarantee if somebody does that, he's going to have a job at Valve. You're like, oh, you did what?
It's like I modified a Nintendo Power Glove, so and go through with where the controller would be, and put like a small keyboard so they can type if they need to.
Yeah, that dude is going to be like chased after by Nintendo and Valve. They're going to be like, we want you. And then Nintendo's going to release the Power Glove 2025.
Oh my god. What else we got in the news?
Another quick wee one since we're on Nintendo. Nintendo is buying Luigi Mansion 3's developer Next Level Games, which I thought they already owned.
I didn't realize that was a third-party
too.
game. I thought they owned them
Neither
too.
did I. But they put it
Nintendo
out there.
Nintendo will do that sometimes though. Like they'll let a third party company work on a title like that, and if it does well, they'll just go, okay, you're ours now.
Well, to be fair, this company actually sent out feelers to see if anybody wanted to buy them, and as soon as Nintendo got wind of that, they're like, "Oh, you're looking to sell? We got you. You us now. Just you come join the Nintendo family."
They've been exclusive with Nintendo since 2014.
Yeah.
So it's just an evolution of that.
Yep.
That's cool. Nice.
I think it's cool because it's, anytime you could make a game that feels like Luigi Mansion feels like a Nintendo game, and is done really, really well. So
they did the same thing with Rare years ago. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country and stuff.
Yeah, they actually backed out from buying them. Reading part of this article, it's relatively rare for Nintendo to get out its wall to actually buy an external company. They did it in 2002 when they bought Retro Studios, and 2007 when they bought Monolith Soft. And those, like, it's rare for Nintendo to be like, yeah, we'll buy you.
So basically every 7 to 10 years we can expect them to buy another studio.
Yeah, they could have bought Rare because they were in such a strong deal, but they never committed to buying with them. So Rare just kind of went, oh, okay, cool, we're going to go make whatever else.
Imagine Sea of Thieves on the Switch.
I'll be honest, I don't know if Nintendo's companies get to decide exactly what I think they get to come up with ideas and whatnot, and then Nintendo's like, no, show us a little more. No, yes, no. Where Microsoft is like, you guys make whatever the fuck you want. You come show us when you're ready. Here's money.
Fair.
Like Microsoft's a lot more hands off. Nintendo's a lot more picky.
I think part of that's who's in charge of the Xbox Game Studio right now too, though.
Yeah. Hey, he's doing a good job. Fucking keep doing what you're doing. Your games are winning.
For reals. Let's see. Also, Nintendo news: Super Nintendo World website. If it launches, and you can do a virtual fly through of Nintendo World.
Yeah, you can go take a look at the theme park stuff, which is pretty cool
and
because we're not going to get one for a while.
I think they're also talking about expanding it already too to like Donkey Kong Country.
Wow. Yeah, they've already working on the expansion for it. Yep.
Yeah, which is cool as hell. Like I want to see all sorts of things. I guarantee they're going to do a Pokemon World. Guarantee it.
Why wouldn't you?
Like you'll get to take your Pokemon Go in there, and they'll have events and things like that, and you can catch special Pokemon and get coins and all that shit in there.
I think it'll be interesting.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, probably.
Section. You could do like a whole Disney World of Nintendo games and just have all the different parks.
Well, and ours is going to be here in the U.S. Ours is going to be at Universal in Florida. They're already starting to build it, and I'd be interested to see, based on how long it's supposed to be taking them, if they'll go ahead and add the Donkey Kong version 2 hours to open about the same time they're going to be doing the other one. If, let's say, it was a non-pandemic world, if that would be the case, but we don't know exactly how long it's going to end up taking.
Yeah, fingers crossed that it's not that long.
Yeah, no kidding for sure.
What else we got? What you got for us, Oak?
For those that have been wanting a PlayStation 5 that's completely all black instead of the white sides and all that good stuff, there was a company that was doing that. They were charging $650,000.
Really? Holy shit! No wonder they got canceled.
$650 for the digital version, $750 for the disc version of the games. I mean, of the consoles, and they sold out really quick. And then people started threatening their staff because they couldn't get a regular PlayStation, and they were mad and pissed and everything else. So they have canceled and sent all the money back to the people that have ordered one, because we can't have nice things because people are stupid.
Yeah.
They said that it is a possibility that they'll go ahead and do this later once it's a less volatile market. But I actually think what's going to end up happening is Sony's going to end up coming out with one before they get an opportunity.
Probably.
That's my guess.
Although I will say, what is wrong with you that you threatened a company, like, or some rando person on the internet because they sold out of an item? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna kill you doesn't mean, oh, let me get the last one out of the back for you.
Yeah.
What exactly did you hope to accomplish, you stupid child?
That could be blanketed to several events.
Well, it's true though. Thinking? Like, you gotta think things through. You threatened somebody's life because an item you wanted was sold out. Explain to me how threatening them gets you what you want. It is gone. There are no more. They cannot make it. They don't just magic these things into being because you said, I'm gonna chop your head off. You're an idiot. I mean, I hate people.
I mean, people. If you've seen recent events, that's kind of how a lot of people think things work.
I don't understand why though. None of our life has ever been magic. It's not like, when I'm mad gets you anything. And if you were taught that as a child, I'm sorry, but your parents are bad.
Oh well.
I have some feels, man. Let me tell you.
Our last little article we got there, that's another quickie news. If you're a fan of Neir, is that how you say that?
Neir, yeah.
Automata.
Automata.
Yeah. There's a person that's reverse engineered the game and found a cheat code on the inside that allows you to be able to have a bunch of unlocks, as well as be able to go to the final area
without doing subsequent playthroughs.
After 4 years, 3 years,
3
years,
well, almost 4. I mean, it's 3 years and 10 months is what it said.
Months. Yep. So.
Yeah, I mean, it basically, because you have to play through the game 3 times. You have to play it through 3 times through all 3 of the stories before you basically get the full finish of the game. But this hack, or this cheat code, because it's a hard-coded cheat code, when you do it, it unlocks everything. Basically, you get the chapter selects, you get the credits, you get the replay missions.
The trophy shop.
Yeah, you do that, and then you finish the game. You can play it as free as you want. You have full access to everything.
Which is obviously a developer cheat code while they were trying to go through the game is what it is.
They put it in there on purpose, too, for anybody to figure out afterwards. Like because I think after somebody found it, the developer was like, there's still one more secret in the game that nobody has found, and a little over 3.5 years later, we're like, hey, you finally found it, congratulations.
You know why though?
It's such a
Here's my
weird
thought
bug.
process.
Or-
Everybody has all these brand new games that have come out, and they come out all the time, and they have to work or they have to go do something else in their lives, and they've been stuck at home because of the pandemic. That they're like, okay, I found this because I had nothing else to do. I found the other secret. It's too funny.
Sometimes it takes longer. I mean, there's been Nintendo and Super Nintendo games that people have finally found secrets to, like 20 years later. So.
Yep.
So true.
Definitely. Anything else?
I'm gonna go play Skyrim because I haven't played in 2 weeks. So no, I don't have anything
You
else.
just released a video though.
I did. I still had back stuff because I did a lot of recording before the holiday. So, which is good because it's been pretty crazy since the holiday.
Yeah, I get to start tearing down my entire system here and moving it. So
Nice.
I'm gonna go play in snow.
Yeah, shut up, Baka.
we appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slineham.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel where she just released the video, as I just said. And you know, go on there, hit the like button or the subscribe button, sorry, and then the little bell so you can get the
You can
notifications.
also hit the like button. There's a like button on there.
Ding ding.
Oh, there's a like button too.
Yeah.
Hit those two. Go through all of the things and hit the like buttons on every one of them. Just do that. Just go through, hit all the likes. They help. I promise. Hit that sub as well. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313 Chicken.
Still working on
doing?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Are you
I
playing?
didn't get to play any. I would like to play tomorrow, but we'll see what life has in store.
Well, yeah, I guess it
I
kinda
don't know if
depends on-
anybody else. I don't know if anybody else has a 4 to 5 month old, but they can be demanding. So.
No, not kids.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Not
I would like to
kids.
play some more, but we'll see.
But wait,
also,
so
make
he's older. He's gonna be like sneaking behind you while watching you play from behind.
Probably.
Hey, that's fine.
you just see him looking over the shoulder right there at the door.
Get back in that room, boy.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/MDB Oaktree, where I stream just about every day of the week except Wednesdays, except this week. I am completely off from streaming this week as I move all of this stuff. And this weekend I have a trip planned, so hopefully I can will be able to be here next Sunday, but from whatever location I'm at. So I'm taking a microphone with me. So we'll see. Anyway, everybody, for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
Birds.
I'm Chicken.
Baka.
Bye.
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 Please hang up and try again.